Hey, what's up, everybody? So this is Isaiah Coble, and this is House Call. And today I want to be talking about credit. The biggest thing when it comes to buying real estate, buying investment properties, buying a car, actually moving on in life today. So I'm going to tell you everything I know and everything I did to actually get my credit to where it is today. So my credit today is around a 750, but I want to actually show you how I did it or tell you how I did it. Okay? So with credit, it's a long road and it can be very tricky. So the first thing I did was I researched. I try to learn as much as possible and get the ins and outs about credit. But today, I'll be telling you exactly what I know to help you move forward with your credit and actually get you into the journey, into the process of either purchasing a house, getting a new car, getting savings up, actually getting a credit card for your kids, or pulling out loans. So I will try to help you as much as possible, and I hope it helps, but I'm gonna let you know, I am not a credit professional. This is things that I did as an individual to actually help my credit. And I also had a lot of people behind me that work in credit professionally to actually help me move forward. So first thing I wanted to know was the ratios. So credit can be as low as a 400 and as high as a 850. The best score to have is where I say be fair, meaning you want to be around 600 to 700 or higher. But if you have a 600 to 700, that is fine. And there are a lot of things that you can do. Like you can get credit card, like you can start actually getting a home loan. You can get a loan for a car. You can get a personal loan. These are things you can do. But not every bank will work with you if you don't have any credit. So I'm gonna tell you just from start to finish on how I started to develop my credit. Okay. So the first thing I did was I went to let's say a store, and I did one of those credit card, like, hey, you'll get 10% off if you sign up with a credit card today. I did it. Okay. And what I did was, when I did that, I made sure I didn't get a super high limit. So my limit was only maybe $100. And every time I went to, let's say, get gas, I spent $30 on gas, even though I had the money. And I took that $30 and I put it on my credit card. Okay. And after I put that $30 on my credit card, I had the cash. I put it into my savings account. Okay. I put that $30 in my savings account. All right. And after I put that $30 in my savings account, I did not touch it until that $30 on my credit card account was due. So when they said, oh, your credit card is due and you need to pay $30, I already had it auto pay. They already knew what account it was coming from. Boom, it's done. Not to worry. So first, I have no late payment because it was auto pay. Second, it boosts my credit score because I'm keeping it under $30 utilization, meaning I'm keeping it under the 30% mark of the max of the credit card. So the max is $100, but I'm keeping it around $30 that I'm using. So when the banks look, they're like, well, he's keeping it low. He's not using too much of it, but it's actually boosting your score because now they can trust you when they give you a bigger spending limit. That's how I started my credit. Okay. And it took me a while to get it to where it needed to go. But once I had that credit card, 6 months down the line, I was making payments. I was doing good. So then I asked my bank for a secured credit card, something that was a little bit of a higher spending limit, but something I knew I could control. Okay. Which was like, let's say $1,000. Paid my rent through that card. I paid my car loan through that card. I paid what else did I pay? I paid my cell phone bill through that card, but everything I did was through that card. So then I had my money that I actually knew I can pay on that card. I put it aside and I did the same thing I did again, and I put it in the savings account. So I took that $400 that I was spending on everything else and I paid it off. At the end of every month, I paid it off, but I did not get rid of my card. You have to keep your card. That's the biggest thing. You have to keep your card on and active and do a little bit of transactions here and there. So that's why it's not a good thing to get many cards. It's always a good thing to have at least three or less, and things that you can actually use them for. Okay. So that is how I started to develop my credit. Next, I will talk how I slowly but surely increased my credit and moved it forward. Okay. So the things I had to keep in mind when actually looking at credit and viewing credit was I had to verify all my accounts were current. The way I did that was a lot of auto pays. And trust me, I hate auto pays. I understand that, sometimes you got to rob Peter to pay Paul. I get it. But auto pays is a good thing to make sure your credit goes up. And I always put things in auto pay that I didn't mind paying without. So here's a couple things that I used to do to make sure, or how can I say, monitor to make sure that my credit was moving forward where I needed it to be. Because to get it to where you're in the 700s and 800s, you got to make very good decisions. So I, one, verify all my accounts are current. Two, dispute any inaccuracies. But in order to dispute accuracies, I say talk to a credit professional to make sure that you know exactly what to do when you want to dispute any inaccuracies. And a way that I can see if it's any inaccuracies on my credit is I go through a lot of free credit platforms like Credit Karma and I think creditreport.com, whatever. It doesn't matter. I have it in the description. You can look at it. You can look at it, and if you need any more help with credit, reach out to me and I'll get you connected to a credit professional. Also, anything that I think was going to be late, like if I was going to be late on a car payment or if I was going to be late on a rent, I will call my creditors and ask for a little bit of grace period, or even if it's a water bill, I will ask for, let's say, a payment plan. But if I was to do that, I will make sure I stick to that plan. Because if you stick to the plan, that will also boost your credit because they will not file and put it into collections or evict you. Okay. Next is I would make sure my debt to income rate, well, my debt ratio, not debt to income, debt ratio was below 30%. So if I had a $1,000 credit card, I always try to make sure my utilization is between 30% that is staying on the card, meaning I try to keep it below 300 or around 300 at all times that I have on the card. Okay. So my credit brings me to how they monitor your credit. The first thing they look at is payment history. They want to make sure that you are paying your payments consistently and you're not late, you're on time, because to them, that is very crucial. And that is 35% of what they look at when they determine your score. Next is credit usage. So, meaning again, they want to make sure that you're in that 30% mark, which I went over before. And they want to make sure that if you're spending $1,000, they want to make sure that you're keeping it around that $300 range on your credit card at all times. When you go over that 300, that 30% range, it's more of a negative effect on your credit than a positive. But they don't take that into account all the right away, so you can pay it down over time. And if you have a big pool of credit or a small pool of credit, it affects you differently. Next is the age of a credit, meaning if you've been working on your credit and building your credit for 3 years, they can see that. That is a plus for them. And that accounts for 15% of the score that you get for your credit, okay? The credit mix is the mix of your credit, like not car loans, credit cards, mortgage, and investments, things like that. They want to see exactly how much your credit is being used and what field it is being used in. That counts as 10% of what score they use to keep your credit and to raise or decrease your credit. Next will be inquiries. So I know a lot of people say, oh, well, they just checked my credit and they put an inquiry on my credit. Those can be good and those can be bad. Okay. They only account for 10%, but if you have like 1,000 of them, that's going to be a bigger hit on your credit than you just having 4 inquiries. Inquiries go off on their own, but I think it's a long time when they do. But you can also call a credit professional and talk to them about your inquiries, and they might know a shortcut for you to use to take them off. Okay. So I hope this helps when building your credit to getting you to that perfect score of 600, 700, but whatever goals that you have, just know that it has to start somewhere. You have to start today if you want to build your credit, because credit history, credit usage, and the age of credit are important when moving your credit up. So you want to start today if you are going to start. If you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Like, subscribe, and share. I'll be waiting to hear from you. And thank you again for watching my video. It's a pleasure.